Alright, script. Pixel Fold, best foldable yet, but it still kind of sucks. Who wrote this? I've been using the Google Pixel Fold for the past 3 weeks, and it's one of the best folding phones I've ever used so far, but it still kind of sucks. Now, the best way to go about this is to go through the 5 must-haves for making a great smartphone and see how the Pixel Fold stands up. What are those 5 must-haves? Well, there's build quality, screen, camera, user experience, and finally battery life. And also we'll throw price in there as well, because that's something we should talk about. A phone must score above a 4 out of 5 in all of these categories on the Painfully Honest score meter to be considered a great smartphone. So let's get started and see how the Pixel Fold does. And I'm going to have to keep calling it the Pixel Fold because for the last 5 years we've been calling the Galaxy Z Fold the Fold whatever number. So yeah, one demerit for lack of originality in name, Google. This video, however, is sponsored by NordPass. More to come on them just in a few minutes, but let's get on with build quality. The build quality is probably the best surprise of the Pixel. I really didn't know what to expect. Previous folding phones from Samsung have been solid, but there have been places where they kind of felt a little janky as well. The Z Fold 4 hinge, for example, started getting creaky on me after a few weeks of using it. It was just kind of like, and that was kind of, I didn't like it. I also went through 2 Z Flip 4s, the screen breaking, before I just decided to give up and put that phone in a drawer. Now, the Pixel Fold feels surprisingly refined, especially since it's Google's first time around the foldable track. The materials, frosted glass on the back here, Gorilla Glass Victus on the front screen, and the edges are a nice kind of like metallic, maybe it's stainless steel, I'm not exactly sure, some kind of steel, a steel alloy perhaps, I don't know. The hinge is a new design that Google came up with that allowed them to put the fold like flat in this area, whereas the other phones have had sort of a thigh gap. And this makes for a very nice unfolded experience. Another plus is that the screen is less lumpy than the Z Fold screens have been in the past. They always seem to feel like there was an orange peel underneath, at least in the earlier iterations of that phone. A little bit better now. There is still a crease down the middle that is feelable and visible, but honestly, I don't notice it as much as I did on the Z Fold line. I don't know if that's because it's just wider on both sides. I don't know what it is. I don't notice my finger dipping all that much. A couple of negative things. The front screen has picked up some scratches along the way in the past 3 weeks. I haven't had scratches like that happen for several years. I don't know what to chalk it up to since Gorilla Glass Victus has been around for a while, but it's a bummer. I mean, I haven't treated this phone any differently than I have any others, but there are 3 different areas that are scratched on this thing. So I guess I'm going to have to get a screen protector, and I haven't used a screen protector for, I don't know, 3 or 4 years at this point. So overall, I give build quality a 4. But I'm tempted to knock it down more because of the scratching on the front screen here. And the camera housing also has some scratches on it, which is a bummer. And even though I have a case on it most of the time, it's still got some scratches. Thanks to NordPass Business for sponsoring this video. See NordPass Business in action now with a 3-month free trial right here. NordPass.com/Jason NordPass with code Jason NordPass. How much of your time could you get back removing bottlenecks that stall deadlines, share an unlimited number of digital entry points so that you can align to different departments or teams? Members get access to share credentials, payment information, and other sensitive data immediately. Whether your business is large, small, protect your digital assets, make everyone's life a little bit easier with NordPass Business. See NordPass Business in action right now with a 3-month free trial here. Go to NordPass.com/Jason NordPass with the code Jason NordPass. Get those 3 months free, check it out, and make your life easier. The outside screen here is 5.8 inches from corner to corner, and the inner screen is 6.7 inches from corner to corner. The outer screen is Full HD Plus, which is 2092 by 1080p with a 408 pixels per inch. A lot of people get hung up on HD and QHD and 4K and 5K and all those things, but truth is, PPI is what really makes or breaks a screen, in my opinion, because that's where the fidelity comes from. Regardless of the specs, both of these are very nice screens. I have been enjoying them quite a bit. And because the front screen is shorter but wider, it's the first fold that I've used where I don't feel like I have to open the phone to do anything more than check notifications. The outside screen gets up to 1550 nits of brightness, which should be enough, I guess, in sunlight. I really wouldn't know because I actually spend most of my time in a darkened basement lair. The inner screen is also very nice. Yes. 7.6 inches and more square than rectangular when opened. It comes out to be a very nice size. And it feels like there's a lot of room here. I can leave YouTube videos playing in a little side window and go and do other things on the phone, and I don't feel like it's too cramped and the window keeps getting in the way. We'll talk a little bit more about multitasking and all that kind of stuff when we get to the user experience section. Now, this screen is 2280 by 1840, which is a little bit better than Full HD. It's almost, I guess it's Quad HD. I don't know. 380 PPI, which is pretty good for a screen this size. It's plenty dense for sharp text and really good looking colors. It's a very, very good looking screen. The colors are very nice, not too overbaked, not too washed out. I have been enjoying this screen quite a bit. People have complained about the thick bezels that this phone has. All right, let's call them wide bezels. There's a selfie camera in the bezel, so it doesn't have to be behind the screen. I think that's a plus, but I also chalk this up to the knee-jerk nature a lot of people have about, sort of things that are bad on phones. According to Google, they had to make the top and bottom bezels larger to accommodate the hinge design with no creaking or grinding up to this 3-week point. If it means better experience with the hinge, then I will stipulate the larger bezels. It doesn't really make a big difference to me. I'd rather have no creaking or grinding or anything that sounds like it's my really expensive phone is being destroyed from the inside. In regular use, I don't really notice the bezels at all, and I don't think the majority of people who would be using this phone would notice them either. I mean, this is it's one of those things that people who talk about phones talk about. The biggest downside to the inner screen when opened is that it doesn't immediately fold flat. It kind of goes out to here and stops a couple of degrees away from flat, but you can kind of like push it this way and get it mostly flat. It's an odd, and I don't know what causes it. It does bother me when it's unfolded first that it's not fully flat, and putting that extra pressure on the hinge makes me cringe. Both displays, 120 hertz refresh rate, can go down to 60, and you can set that in the settings, and that's something that we'll talk about, and it'll be kind of important when we get into the battery section of this review. But when it comes to the screens, my rating 4.5. Take a little bit off for the crease still there, take a little bit off for the not quite folding flat, but still 4.5 out of 5 is pretty darn good. Now, what about these cameras? The cameras, it doesn't have the best hardware that Google puts into a camera. That remains the hallmark of the 7 Pro. But the cameras that are in here are still very good. You still have Magic Eraser and Unblur and Portrait Blur. And you can use those after taking photos. The Unblur will save some photos that you want to keep. And Magic Eraser can get ugly people out of your photos as well. And it's non-destructive. You can always go back and put the ugly people back in. The Pixel cameras have always been simple to use, and you get great shots without much muss or fuss or having to do too much to them, which is exactly what I expect from a smartphone camera. Video with the more recent Google phones has been better than it used to be, but it's still not quite as good as the iPhone in my opinion. But still, in a pinch, I would actually use it, where that might not have been the case, like, say, with the Google Pixel 4 or 5. You also get some cool features like rear camera selfie, where you can get the camera going and then you can like look at yourself this way and take a selfie with the main cameras, which is kind of nice. You get some better selfie shots. There are more things in the camera to cover than I really think is within the purview of this video. So if you want me to do a dedicated camera video, let me know. For the purposes here, I give the cameras a 4.5 out of 5, and I'm taking off that half point because it doesn't have the best hardware that Google offers for the cameras. And that brings us to user experience, and this is where it starts to get a little wonky. Overall, the user experience is pretty good. I still don't think that using a foldable phone is like fully baked in terms of the user experience. It's better than I've had compared to other foldables that I've used, but that doesn't mean it's anywhere near perfect. For one thing, Google has done a nice job of optimizing Google first-party apps like Gmail and YouTube and the camera app and calendar and stuff like that. They all look great when opened up to the full tablet size, like so. But other apps, when opened, are not using the full screen real estate. This is not a problem unique to the Pixel Fold, but the Galaxy Fold, for example, can force apps to expand to the full size of the screen. That's not always ideal. It doesn't always work the way that you would hope it does, but you do get a full screen experience. Unoptimized apps just kind of sit in the middle of the screen with some black bars on either side when you open them on the Pixel Fold. You can tap and tap to go to one side or the other. It feels weird. It looks like the phone is rendering the app wrong or something. You can also multitask on the inner screen, but only with 2 apps. Maybe this will change as the phone matures, but honestly, I kind of like only having 2 apps because you get 2 apps at their full size. You know, like if you're talking about the front screen, which makes both apps kind of comfortable to use. Biometric security. The Pixel Fold has 2 kinds of biometric security. They got face unlock and fingerprint unlock here on the power button. Neither work reliably. The fingerprint reader has a decent number of read errors, especially when I put on a case. The lip of the case from one side of the screen kind of blocks my finger from getting in there. Face unlock works well in really good light. Like, it would work really well here, but it doesn't work all that well in dark spaces. Coming from an iPhone 12 Pro Max, or any iPhone with Face ID for that matter, it works pretty much in any condition. I mean, you can use Face ID in the dark. as long as you have it pointing at your face. And that, to me, is the gold standard of any kind of face unlock. In terms of using the operating system, I like Google's flavor of Android. It's simplified and elegant in a way many other Android phones are not. If you've been using a Samsung phone and One UI and you come to the Pixel, you might at first feel like, oh geez, this isn't nearly as advanced or something, but give it a minute. It still gives you the customizability of Android, but a more cohesive experience, and you have the benefit of knowing that this is what Google expects Android to look and act like. In some places, the user experience is very refined, and I appreciate that. The operating system, like the skin and everything, is very nice, and they give you plenty of customization options in wallpapers and stuff like that. But then you've got apps not being optimized. You've got like just little things here and there, the fingerprint, the Face ID, face unlock, sorry. And so I got to give it a 3 on the painfully honest scale. Now we get to battery. At the end of the day, battery life, to me, is probably the most important feature on any phone. If you have battery anxiety, or your battery just doesn't make it through the day, you can't use all the cool features of the phone. You have to turn things off in order to get battery through the day, like 120 hertz refresh rate and other things. The Pixel Fold's battery is just... it's just really not that great. I use it a decent amount through the day, but not a ton, and I'll be below 40% by dinner. And then below 20% by like 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock, and 20% is my anxiety zone. I usually go to sleep between 11 and 12, so that gives me several hours where I have to charge the phone again or turn on battery saver, which, I don't know, I just don't feel like you should have to do that in 2023. It boggles the mind how you can make a phone this large and not give it a battery that will take it all the way through a day. That means I can't comfortably make it my daily phone. Most flagship phones are getting through a full day or even well into a second day, and battery life seems to keep getting better. So this is really the Pixel Fold's failure point. And that means it's really difficult for me to recommend this to somebody who's going to be using it as their daily driver phone. That is just not good enough. And to add insult to injury, the fast charging compared to the fast charging that a lot of other Android phones have is very slow. So topping up through the day becomes much more of a logistical nightmare. And so for battery, I give the Pixel Fold a lowly 2 on the Painfully Honest smartphone awesomeness scale. We're 5 generations into folding phones at this point, and while this is Google's first attempt, it is a very good one for the most part. If you're going to charge top dollar for a phone, which is $17.99 for the 256 gigabyte version of this phone, the phone has to be near perfect. And battery life is something that shouldn't be a caveat for a phone this expensive. So, caveat emptor, good people. Buy with caution. You should now be equipped with the info that you need to make a purchase decision about this impressive, however flawed, phone. My overall score for the Pixel Fold is a 3 out of 5 on the Painfully Honest phone awesomeness scale. I could argue to go a little bit higher, but given its shortcomings, I can't let it approach a score of 4, which would make it like an awesome phone in my estimation. Let me know if you agree or disagree with this assessment down in the comments below, and share the video to see how your friends and neighbors feel about the Pixel Fold. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button to help me on my path to 500,000 subscribers by sometime in the next year or two, I guess. And don't forget to check out NordPass, link down in the description below. Thanks to them for sponsoring today's video, and thank you for being here once again. My name is Jason, sometimes known as the JTL. This is Painfully Honest Tech. Tech so honest it hurts. Painfully Honest Google Pixel Fold review. Until the next time, I'm out.